Joanna asks, is there a shared vision of the league and its owners to expand the competition? If so, what is the strategy? Yes, and it is written down in the recently released document by IMG. But yeah, in the short version, we're looking to make Australia the premier winter ball destination globally. We need more teams, more fans, strong partners into the US and Asia. And if we get those first two things right, the rest will take care of itself. Mel asks, I really like the Raglan shirt from last season. How do you go about choosing designs and styles for the merchandise? Well, I'm glad you liked it. I don't think I could tell you how long I spent looking at 5 different t-shirt variations of the exact same t-shirt. But honestly, I love to see what's out there. I love to look around the world for other inspiration and come up with ideas for our own stuff. I like to lead a lot of that within our company, having a lot more time. Planning, you can really lean into international styles. You take into account the guys you have come and play for you. You look at the organizations that they came from. You look at what's working around the local area, especially in Perth, what Western Force or some of the other teams are doing. And you start to take inspiration. You have conversations, and that's the biggest piece for me when going into merchandise ideation and designs is having the ability to listen. Jimmy asks, could the academy bridge the gap between young talent and U.S. college recruiters? In short, absolutely. In the college recruiting world, so much of it runs on relationships. Baseball is a world of who you know, not what you know. You can have all of the talent in the world, but if the right coach never hears your name, sometimes it doesn't matter. So that's where, with our academies, we can help. Is there any possibility of bringing baseball to a more central location in Perth, seeing as there are so many clubs far north of the river? I appreciate the honesty. In short answer, no, not anytime soon. The reality of it is we have one of the, or if the best baseball facility in Western Australia. Currently there at NSR Hire Ballpark. And we've got a great partner in Baseball Western Australia. For now, our energy is focused on making our stadium and our experience the best that we possibly can. And, make it an even better reason to want to make the drive out to Thornley. Can we get ABL baseball cards back, please? Yes, and I would love to, and we're currently working on it. What is your long-term vision for the club over the next 5 to 10 years? Short-term, be sustainable, deliver an elite game day experience, drive great junior participation throughout the state. We know if we do our job at the ballpark and the community, the rest will fall in line. The long term is potentially looking at a second team playing in Perth, enhanced infrastructure, and I think one that I care most about is a roster filled out with local talent. Would you consider bringing back the Bitcoin baseball team, the jersey or the whole concept? Sorry, either way, probably not. That was someone else's idea. Do you think there will be a team in the ABL that isn't from Australia in the next 5 years? Possibly. It makes sense. Where is the question, though? I think there's a real case for multiple teams in one market, especially if they're a foreign team playing on an opposite schedule. What did you do before founding the Black Pearl Sports Group, and what inspired you to invest in Australian baseball? I worked in baseball. I found purpose in serving others and wanted to turn that passion into a career. I'm not perfect and we're not perfect as a company, but the opportunity to leave real impact on a sport that has taught me so much about life is something that I find to be really, really cool. Have you abandoned the idea of allocating seating in general admission area? Yeah, when we took over the team, we started from scratch with no notes. So if someone would have left us a notebook that said, don't allocate seating in the G area, everyone's going to push back, then we probably would have listened. Brendan asks, how can Heat fans have confidence that roster construction this season will be treated equally between the two teams that you own? Well, I appreciate the detailed scouting report. In Sydney, we didn't exactly land 2 top independent stars. We brought back 2 of the same guys from the previous season. So wasn't really a recruiting coup. It was more, a renewal notice. In Perth, with the limited time that we had to pull a roster together, Tucker Smith led our staff. He was one of the best pitchers in the league. Last year, our second import was highly regarded before his injury. We have a director of player development responsible for roster construction for both teams. We put the best talent that we can manage on the field in both cities, and I just suggest judging us on that in the future. Has Australia given up on pushing to be included as a sport for Brisbane 32? Why aren't we riding the WBC and Travis Bazzana momentum? Well, 6 years is a long time to carry momentum, and Bazzana fever is real, but Olympics decisions don't necessarily run on vibes. So the AOC and the organized communities determine the additional spots for 2032, and there are significant hurdles for baseball to be included. It does give us a leg up that they are going to be included in the 2028 Olympics in LA, the 16 model that they're going to be rolling out for that. But like I said, it's 6 years. So yes, we have to lay the groundwork now, and we have to build momentum, and we have to do a really good job of maintaining and being good stewards of the sport and building up from a development perspective so that Australia has the talent to represent on that national stage. But I think there's a good shot. There's some good conversation going on, and there's a really good shot. What do you think is the biggest thing holding Australian baseball back? Consistency? Stability? It's a flywheel effect. More fans come to the game, more people want to talk about it, the bigger the sport gets to grow. The economics are tough in the market that we play in. Just to turn on the lights for the season, it's a significant investment, and for a while it's been treated as more of a hobby rather than a professional organization, and that's something that needs to change. Following off of that, how do you plan to grow crowds at the games? Well, we're the cheapest ticket in the country, $12 for a general admission adult. I don't think you can park at most stadiums for that amount. We're making it nearly free for the next generation. Kids under 12 playing baseball will get season tickets for next to nothing. We like to believe if a kid falls in love with baseball at our park, that's the best investment we'll ever make. Beyond pricing, we're investing in a game day app. We're building out the Perth Academy. We're bringing in great staff and real talent on the field. And we're upping the ante on the broadcast, so the product looks as good at home as it does on the field. Is local talent going to be first in line for game day? I don't come to watch Australian baseball to watch imports. Well, the reality is that no team in the ABL can actually field an all-Australian team. We're required to have a minimum of 12 Australians on a roster, and we can have up to 11 import players, but we also want to maintain a standard within the Australian Baseball League. We want to be positioned as somewhere that players come down to develop and to get better, and to do that you have to have competition that is competitive. They still have to win a spot over the Australians that are already local to the marketplace. So I get what you're saying. It is the Australian Baseball League, but it is also a World Winter League.